Hello, viewers from beyond. I'm your host and player Annie, and welcome back to my domain. So today we are going to be talking about studying. So have you ever gotten like a nosebleed? You know, like in those K dramas where they portray stress or studying a lot as getting a nosebleed? And is that even possible? Well, that we will be figuring out because I have set myself a goal that in this year I want to be getting like 90% or above in all of my courses, because in these recent like years I have let myself go. I used to get a lot of good marks, like I was like 80 or 90 above whenever I was in high school, or throughout my school year. I used to be like a really good at studying, but in recent years, when I started university, I have let myself go, and I'm not as invested into studying, or I'm not as it almost seems like I'm not as smart, which is not a good thing. And for your information, like this semester I had started on a good note, but not anymore because I got lazy and I wasn't keeping up with like the course materials and everything. So yeah. But you know what they say, like yesterday was the best day to start and the second best day to start is today. So it's better late than never. Anyways, today I will be presenting to you like what I would be doing as in order for me to get like A pluses and not like just 60%. And not just like the passing mark. Oh, by the way, can you see my skin? Like it's so glowy and everything. Oh, it looks good. But anyways, as I was saying, one thing that I have started doing is evaluating what I do with my time and why I'm not studying. And for one, Insta Reels and YouTube and reading manhwa has really been eating up my time, which I hate for myself. And also there is the fact that I started this channel in order to better myself, so I wanted to start like filming as much as possible and trying to come up with ideas and getting myself comfortable in front of the camera. But I haven't done that. Like I filmed one video this week, which is this one, and I'm not happy about it because I do enjoy like the process of editing and the process of coming up with ideas for me to film, and I feel like I have good ideas, but I never really get myself to start like doing the filming. Could be the fact that whenever I start filming, I feel like I'm back in high school, like in front of my peers, and I have to go back to I'm presenting to them, and everything feels so awkward, and I start like stuttering or whatnot, and also like I find it difficult to find like angles for me to shoot on, for me to shoot. And like right now being here like this, it took me like a good 30 minutes just to go ahead and film like this, and even now I'm not as comfortable, like I'm not confident in this angle, but I'm just choosing to shoot anyways. But yeah, so one thing I have been like doing ever like for a while. Here is I have been looking up like videos on how to study, how I get my A classes, methods to use in while studying, and what how you should like you shouldn't cram for like courses, you shouldn't cram for your topics, you should rather like do the mind maps and whatnot. There are a lot of videos, and maybe I will put some in the description box for those who want to explore or for those who want to watch what I have been watching. And one thing for sure is that I tend to forget that these videos that I'm like watching are not going to be substituted like for the study time that I'm supposed to do to be doing, which I always forget, because whenever it's time for me to study, there are so many topics for me to cover that I go about like doing it however and what like in a confusing way, which is setting myself back, because it leads me to going back to point A of me like not knowing how to study. And I feel like it's what most of us are dealing with, at least for the people who I've been talking to. I feel like, or watching on the internet, when I see them like describing like how they are not studying, and like it's always jokes. It's always like in the reels there are always jokes, and everybody is liking it and being like ha ha ha, that's so me. And like it's not funny when you're in school and you know you're supposed to be studying and you know you can be doing like so much better at school, but you don't, because you know, oh, you're lazy, you know, you don't want to study. And that's the problem. Like you can't wait for any kind of enlightenment when you have to study. You have just to make yourself do it. And this year I have written a couple of ideas which I will be using in order to get myself to the point where I'm comfortable just switching off my phone and, you know, going ahead and starting to study. I want studying to be something that I enjoy, something that I like, something that I look forward to. And you know, in some ways I love studying because I have taught myself like some Korean, as I was saying in my previous video. I have taught myself how to read like the characters, and I have taught myself like how to draw a little bit, and that's something that I enjoy, but I haven't been keeping up with, because you know, as you draw, if you want to draw in a certain manner, it gets a little bit difficult, and you have to study and learn the technique in order to get to a certain style. But for me, like I found it like to be too hard. It's not too hard, I just didn't want to go through the process of giving up my time in order to acquire that technique. And that's really not going to be good for me in the future, because there's a lot of things that I want to do, and I can't do them if I don't let myself go through the process of learning and letting myself like just be bored, like, and I don't know how to explain it, but you know, I just feel like I like the discipline to sit myself down and just do it. You know, like Nike, just do it. But you know, yeah, so I will be going through my study plan to show you what I will be doing essentially for myself in order to get those A classes. And maybe I will also advise like everybody else to do the same thing, evaluate what they do in a day. And 24 hours is a long time. And you can't tell me that you can study even for 1 hour. It's 1 hour of studying is better than nothing. So yeah. So for my study plan, one thing that I want to implement is the Pomodoro technique, which is like you study in intervals, 25 minutes of studying and 5 minutes of resting. And why that I took that technique as opposed to any other is because I find myself that as I enjoy like studying, when I get myself to studying, like when I actually study, I do enjoy it. I enjoy learning and I want to learn, but it's just hard for me to get myself to start. So I feel like if I use this technique, it will be a lot easier, since in my head it is like, oh, I will just study for 25 minutes and I can rest for 5 minutes, so it won't be as long. It's not as intimidating, at least for me, I feel. Another thing that I want to implement is spaced repetition. And for me, what it will look like is that before like starting like a course, I will be reviewing the material that we will be covering, so it's a bit easier for me, like I will at least understand the gist of it. And another thing is after like the course, I will be reviewing the material again to make sure that I understood like most of the materials covered. And if I don't understand, I will reread like or search up on the internet so it can be, so when it comes to time for me to cover all the materials, it will be easier. Like I already know like the blueprint of everything, so when it comes to just studying, it will be like reviewing and just reading through the papers. At least that's how I feel like it will be. And yeah, I also want to be studying at least for 2 hours for each course a day. I want 2 hours to review the materials and do the assignment, and that's also not counting if today I have a math class. I will study the math class, but I also have the 2 hours when I'm back home or still at school that I will have to review the materials. And all, like I said, throughout the day I will be always using the Pomodoro technique. And yeah, that will be like my study plan. And for some of you it might seem like it's not as extensive, but it's a start. So, and if I need to add something, I will add it like as I see fit throughout the days that I will be reviewing. And another thing that I wanted to address is that I will be reducing my social media consumption, because I have seen that when I start scrolling, like I won't stop, at least for a good 2 hours. I'm like, oh, I still have a little bit of time, which I could be doing so much more. Like, for this channel, I could be preparing for future videos or preparing like for anything else rather than just being in my bed and scrolling. I feel like I also will be I want to be like able to detox myself from like using so much social media, because like I lack the discipline to keep myself on a schedule. And I feel like as you grow up, though you don't need to have like every hours of your day to be like planned for, you at least need to be having like a little bit of routine or structure on how to go throughout the days. And for me, whenever I set my schedule for myself, like I'm rarely able like to keep up with it, because I'm always like, there's always something coming up, and whenever that something comes up, it's nothing like important, but I always take the time to do that's something instead of following my schedule, which I feel like for me it's a lack of discipline, because I should be able to prioritize what needs to be like first and what needs to be second. Like you should know like what's the priority, like how important is that something. Yeah, I feel like I'm rambling, but you know. That would be my study plan, my action plan for this year, and you know, I'm hoping that it will work out well for me, and that I will be able to carry it through the rest of my university year. And yeah, anyways, if you see me looking like this through the year, and you know, I'm filming videos and I'm gushing out like blood, don't mind me. That's just me like putting in the work in order for me to be successful in the future, so don't mind me. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.